Our time. Well, welcome, everyone. As Linda said, we so appreciate people getting here right on time, if not early, because there is a major mastermind going on behind the scenes. Either Linda or Patty are getting you into your home teams, and a big part of the style of our gathering, which you discovered last week, is this capacity to dance across rooms and with each other. And it's no small thing, kind of a technical feat in a way. And we're very fortunate to have the right folks behind the screen. So anyway, I'm just going to do a very brief review, welcome you back. And as you saw last week, time goes really quickly in our time together. And so what I want to do is just do a very brief review and send us off to our home teams where we start. And so let's see, can you see the screen? Is it showing? Yes, okay, all right. So just in a brief review, as you learned last week, what is bringing us together is our strong commitment to individualized supports. Everyone in this group, regardless of which agency you're in and what country and what state, we're all kind of on this edge of individualized supports. And what our shared intention is, and we learned from you in our interviews, is that while individualized support significantly increases the likelihood for deepening relationships and valued roles, it doesn't do that in and of itself. And so we find ourselves at a unique time, not only kind of coming out of COVID, but also coming to terms with the fact that simply individualizing doesn't necessarily help us get where we want to be. And so we are here to keep asking that, what more is possible? And we have as our guide this sort of early reference point to inclusion, which we'll be going deeper into throughout our time together to deepen our understanding of what the words mean, how they changed over time, and what we want to learn and where our next edges are. That's another way to think about what we're trying to discover in every session and in every conversation. And so just a few reminders from last time. We had this wonderful image from Dan Trudeau, who is actually going to be sharing one of his stories today, by the way, a shift story. And it is a wonderful example of a person who has a story of engagement and co-creating possibilities. And by the way, we'd be most interested in other suggestions for stories. So we'll say more about that later, but don't hold back from saying we have a really interesting story and it's helped us understand the shifts that we're making and that we want to make. And a few other reminders of what we said from last time. We need to remember that the future is ours to make. Jack Pierpoint reminded us of that. And Dave Hasbury reminded us that we created segregation, we created institutionalized settings, and we have the capacity to create belonging if we bring our collective awareness and attention to that. Patty Scott reminded us a very important way that people in administrative roles can have a huge impact on both making space for creativity and also seeing those jobs as creative acts. And so that's another important shift we're making. We talked about, this came through in the chat and in various groups. Now is the time. Things are opening back up. So there's a sense of renewed possibility. And yes, we are the ones we are waiting for. We are glad to be together. We are not so alone in this conversation. And on that note, a few other things we said last time. We'll be listening for and looking for shifts. I love this one by Rachel. Thank you. What an important takeaway. We are not in social services. We're in creation. this one is definitely sticking with me. And this observation from from Sarah in Cape Cod, how nice it is to be creative in the creation of services, even when you don't necessarily think you're creative. So Rachel, you voiced what a lot of people were feeling coming into this. And it was really important to appreciate just the way you think about connecting dots is a highly creative act and a great expression of what we have the chance to do together in this work. Okay, let's see. Jim Karp reminded us that part of what our task is to help everyone be their most creative. It's so easy to fall into a kind of flattened state where the creativity is nowhere in sight. And these are the ways people expressed their sense of what happened going out, gratitude being a big one, connection, inspiration, and a growing sense that, yeah, okay, we're here. Let's push this edge. What more is possible? May we become domino pushers. That was another term that came up. So here we are, and this is what you can expect today. And then we'll shortly go into your breakout groups. So here we are. I'm welcoming you. And in just a minute, you'll go back in your home base for a check-in. And your home base is going to be the same for all 8 weeks. So hopefully you'll really get to know that group and you'll keep learning together. There'll be a brief reflection in the chat, and then Jack will be introducing Dan, our shift story, that will open up an inquiry for us to take into our mixer groups. So you'll be with whole new people as much as possible. And then there will be some segments with John O'Brien, Linda Kahn, and David Hasbury to help us discover some ways to reflect together. So we're going to be trying some things, something called a canvas and something called Padlet, and we'll be working with images and metaphors, and they'll take us through that. And that will prepare you to go back into your organizational design teams, and we'll have a harvest and make connections. And John will bring us the word for this week and the word for next week. So in preparation for your groups, in just a few minutes, you'll be going back into your home base, and you'll be listening for shifts that have already happened. So what did you notice since last week? This is Rachel's example, such a good one. Wow, okay, that stuck with you perhaps. How did that show up as a shift? And if we notice the patterns, then we notice we have more choices. We can see even more ways we can make a difference, and we can find fresh ways to push that edge toward more what is possible. So after a brief introduction, the question, this is your check-in question. As a result of session 1, what is it that you are noticing? What shifts are you noticing in your awareness, life, and work? So just since last week, do you see some shifts? Are you living with some shifts? And what do you have to say to each other about that? And don't forget, 15 minutes goes by really quickly. There's no reason to set a timer to divide the time equally, but be mindful of it. So there are 5 or 6 of you in each group. That'll be about 2 or 3 minutes each, right? So this is just that's the definition of a check-in. Hi, folks. Beth again from San Diego. This is what I have noticed in the last week. Take it and make a statement and then pass it on, pass it forward. So Patty, how ready are we to go?
We are ready, I think. So I will open the rooms.
Here, here. Let's go, and we'll see you back in 15 minutes.